Up in a single parent family can have both positive and negative psychological effects on both you and your child. It's likely that children may feel happy or relieved when their parents split up and the house is no longer dominated by fighting, but there are also bound to be feelings of longing for a normal two-parent family life. Today we engage Purity McKenna, a psychologist, and Carol Nzioka as we delve into the never-ending conversation. Remember, you're every bit a part of this conversation. You can call us via 0768095491 or go to our Facebook page, TV47 Kenya. And you can definitely tweet us via at TV47KE. And there's more. Stream live via www.tv47.co.k. In studio, help me welcome McKenna. You're very welcome to engage this morning where we have open and candid discussions. Carol, karibu sana. Maybe you can start us off by telling us your story.
My name is Carol, as you said, and married, a mother of three.
Yes.
I grew up with a step-father, but after some time, while I was around 6 years, I knew that he wasn't my dad. Mm-hmm. He wasn't my biological father. So I felt I needed to know my dad. At that time, not because of anything, just to know who this other man is. Yeah, but then after high school, I decided to pursue and, look for my dad. Mm-hmm. And I really didn't know how to start or where to start because my mother never told me about my dad. I only observed and I realized this is not my father. But she never mentioned anything to me that this is not my father. Mm. On the other hand, my stepfather wasn't, like as cruel or maybe he was good to me. So the only reason I needed to know my dad is for identity purposes. And I decided to pursue it. Mm-hmm.
But what gave you those thoughts? I mean, for a 6-year-old, you're supposed to be happy playing outside with mud. You're thinking, I need to know my dad. Like, what made you pointed in that direction? Is it pressure at school? People are like, daddy this, daddy that. Even you wanted to know, what happened?
The main reason was that we were very poor when I was growing up. Okay. And every time I felt like if I knew my dad, probably life would have been different. If I was growing up with my father, things would have been different. That's what I thought. Mm-hmm. Because I realized that this other man that you don't know is always an angel. Mm-hmm. So whatever wasn't working for me at that time, I felt it would probably work if he was there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's what made me think it would be better if I looked for him. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Mm. Yeah, continue. You're saying?
Yeah, so after high school, I decided to look for him. Mm-hmm. And every time I felt like I needed to ask my mom about my father because nobody gave me a hint about his whereabouts. Mm-hmm. And one day I remember we went for burial in my grandmother's place. And as we were interacting with some other grandmothers in the same place, one of them mentioned something as my grandmother was introducing me to them and said, oh, this is the girl that was born here. She looked like the daddy. Mm-hmm. Actually, she mentioned something to do with my nose and said, oh, that nose looks like your father's.
I know.
And I tell you from that day, the best part that I loved about myself is my nose. I felt like if it looks like my father, then that's a good thing.
It defines you.
Yeah.
McKenna, start us off by telling us, first of all, what has occasioned this kind of scenarios in Kenya? I hear they're on the rise. Yeah. Why do we have very many cases of single-parent families, be it a single dad, a single mom? What is the main factor?
It's pretty interesting, Angie, to imagine what is happening at the moment in this country and even outside of the country. Yeah. When you look at how many children have been left by their parents, not necessarily fathers, but even their mothers. Yeah. I think the statistics are really shocking. Mm-hmm. And the question you're asking is a good question. Like, what is causing all this to happen? One thing that we need to note is that there are serious dynamics because the world that we are living in is changing day in, day out. The demands are also rising with the new dynamics that we are experiencing. And so you realize sometimes people were not prepared for this kind of thing that we are having at the moment. If it's a lady, she finds herself expectant, and before she knows, a child is born. That is not what they were prepared for. And so the next thing they are looking for is a way of escape. Where do we run to and leave this baggage that has come into our lives that we were not ready for? It couldn't have been different maybe for Carol, but now in the trends that we are having at the moment,
Yes.
the dynamics are extremely different from probably what we had some few years ago. For fathers, the same thing. You realize people are also engaging a lot in activities that lead to all these children
born
being
out of
born
wedlock.
out of wedlock,
Yeah.
and not because they are ready for responsibility, maybe because of just having fun, maybe raving and all these things, but at the end of the day you realize, oh, she is expectant. Oh, now I'm becoming a father. But really, this is not what I was ready for.
Yeah.
So what will happen eventually is I will withdraw from responsibility. And as a result of that, then you realize we have so many children that are looking for their parents
Yeah.
without knowing where to find them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, McKenna, we have the new trend. Like you said, the dynamics are just vast.
Yeah.
So you also have the new trend where girls say, I am single by choice. But,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
Actually, that's a very good point. You realize there are many, many ladies today who have opted to live single. Like, all I need is to have a baby and
I have
live
a
my
job.
life. I have a job. I have all
everything
I
else. I
need.
just need a
Why
child.
should
Yeah.
I get this stress on my, like we look at the other spouse, the other partner
Yeah.
as some kind of stress,
Yeah,
a baggage in our lives. And we want to shed off that, which is a wrong way of thinking, because every child needs a mother figure and a father figure in their lives.
Yeah.
So we can't really say, all I need, I have money, I have a good job, I have a car, I have
All
the
I need is a
house,
child,
all
yeah.
I need is a child. I don't want a man in my life. And trust me, Angie, we even have men who are ready to just have a child and live their life without women.
Yeah, true. It's both ways.
It's both ways.
Yeah.
And I'm saying categorically that psychologically speaking, we are doing a lot of damage
To the
on
children.
these children.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the name of making ourselves happy.
Yeah, it's quite a selfish move.
Extremely.
Because you're thinking
Very
me, me, me.
mean.
You're not thinking
Yeah.
about the repercussions it has on a child. And especially now that we have bullying in the school setup. Like, that's why I was
Yes.
asking Carol, what put these thoughts into your mind?
Yeah.
Because you find these days the new curriculum is very inclusive. So there are activities where you need to bring both parents.
Yeah.
There are assignments that you have to write the family setup, and then it gets the kid thinking, wait, kuna kwaga na mom, dad, and they're like, what's going on? I only
had
know
this
mom or I only
parent-
know dad.
I
Right.
had this parent whose child was given an assignment which she needed to be helped by the father. And the teacher was clear that it is your dad
Who
to
should
help
help you. Oh my
on this
God.
assignment.
Oh my God.
Also sometimes as teachers, we
Yeah.
follow the curriculum. This is what
without being
this
sensitive.
is what activity requires.
Yes.
You are not sensitive at that moment that this child probably is living with a grandchild, a grandparent. So the child goes home and, Mom, I want to know my dad where he is because I need to do this.
And then now the parent
homework.
is upset at hii shule mnafundishwa nini?
Exactly.
Yeah.
They can't understand.
Yeah.
Mwalimu, and then they start quarreling the
Yeah,
teacher
it's a
and all
big
this.
problem.
The teacher was just carrying out her responsibility of teaching this child.
And getting the child to do the
Yes.
assignment. Carol,
Yeah.
you said you're married and you have 3 kids of your own.
Yes.
Didn't your earlier years affect your perception on marriage and kids? Like, did you feel at any point you don't want to bring forth kids, and then should anything happen and then you're left alone, you'd be like going into another cycle? You didn't have those worries?
Well, I didn't have those worries per se, but I realized at some point, every time I felt like, or I thought about if my marriage would break up, and maybe I'm staying without the dad, I always felt for my children in advance. I always felt like, no, I wouldn't want this thing to happen.
So you hang in there?
Including Yeah,
for the
including
kids.
maybe if it was by death or something, I always felt like, no, let them stay with their father. Yes. On the other hand, I also realized that I was really sometimes looking at my husband like my dad. And I felt like, at some point, I felt like a girl that needed a dad. You know, when I was growing up, one of the things that really, another thing that made me, miss, meeting my dad, it is because my dad, my stepfather is not the kind that is, huggy, and, and at some point I felt like a girl, I needed a dad who would hug me, go out with me, so I always thought maybe my dad would have done that.
Yeah, I get it. McKenna, there's a parent I met who says, actually a grandparent, who says that they've made it a habit to hug, in relation to what Carol is saying, to hug their kids and just give them like physical affection, because to that a child feels more wanted. Is that especially a girl child? Because their reasoning was because the more you do that and show open affection, it's rare to find parents in this society telling you I love you, even voicing it is a problem.
Wow.
Like, I'm your dad, I'm your mom, Nivo, it ends there. That's why you even have them having a problem, having this open discussions. Let's say even sex education, like it's a problem. You get to hear from your aunties, your cousins, uko mbele mbele, you get not from your parent. So the grandparents' version was, let me do my bit. That way, these kids won't feel that they need to go and look for affection in awkward places. Is that a thing?
It's a very critical aspect to look at, because what Carol is bringing on board is emotional deprivation.
Yeah.
She was emotionally deprived, and she feels like I'm not getting emotionally satisfied
From my father,
from my present father.
Yeah.
And maybe that missing dad could be the person who could fill in this gap. And there are many children, of course, because human beings are supposed to engage, like emotionally, affectionately. It's natural. It's God-given, actually. And so for a child who is growing up, especially in the last few, like 2 decades, they have seen technology advancements, and they have seen, it feels nice to be hugged. And that attachment.
Yes.
So a child who grows without that, they have a gap. Definitely. They feel that emotional gap. And of course, hugging and being told these nice things like I love you is very, very important in the lives of children, just like you put it. Of course, I don't remember any time when I was young, my mother telling me she loves me, even my dad. But right now, she has come to realize
it's important.
Anytime we talk on phone, my mom tells me I love you, and I have to, or I tell
despite
her,
age,
despite But when we were growing up,
it was not a thing. Like, what do you mean?
It wasn't there. I used to actually love it when I see my auntie hugging my cousins. And so I always loved being with my
auntie more.
Yes, because of those hugs. Because my auntie is younger by far than my mom. So, of course, she was a bit more exposed. But now, today, if a child is lacking that, especially at home, then that deprivation will make them to even want to look for it elsewhere. And that also puts them at risk. Actually, many times, many children will find themselves into situations that they were not intending to get into. Just that they were looking for some attachment, they were looking for some affection, which they're not getting from their parents.
Yeah, they just just feel good high. Like, there's someone somewhere who's texting me in the morning. That's why you find many of these college girls are really landing themselves in a lot of trouble. There's someone sending me 50 bob somewhere. It's just the emotional attachment. Then within a short time, there's drama. Carol, at any one point, when you felt that probably your husband would give you this fatherly kind of affection, that is so misconstrued, but what? But how did that work out? Because this guy is thinking, I am your better half. Where Uko, you're looking for a father figure. How did that go? Because I'm thinking that is, how do you even begin going there? We are not judging. Just help us understand this. Because that's what I was saying. what you went through could probably affect how you raise your children, but it hasn't. But then you brought in another twist. Now, because of lack of fatherly attention, you're looking for that in your husband. How did that go?
I don't know whether I should say, unfortunately, that I never got what I really was looking for in terms of looking for my dad from my husband, because he was brought up without a mother. So at some point, he was also looking for a mother. So at this moment, I want to be a child and feel like a child to him, and like have him treat me like a child. Yet probably at the same time, he's also looking for a mother out of me. So once in a while, I would experience some love.
I know.
Yeah.
You found each other. Don't worry.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, what I did is that by the grace of God, I got exposed to a lot of training in the area of bringing up our children, and that is what helped me.
Church-based?
Yeah, church-based.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that helped you a lot.
I got a lot of it.
So he's looking for a mom and you're looking for a dad. The perfect match.
Yes.
What's your take on that?
And actually, that is exactly what happens.
Yeah.
When children grow up without a particular parent or a parent of this sex,
he had both parents in his life as well?
The
mother wasn't there.
Mother wasn't
yes,
there. Okay.
if I got her right.
Yes.
So the mother of her husband is not there. So when he is looking for a wife, actually he is looking for a wife who will represent the mother.
Yeah.
And I've come to realize that anytime a man grows without a mother figure in his life, then the time he is getting married, most likely he will look for a lady who has the figures similar to those of the mother. Why? Because they are looking for someone to fill in this mother gap. The same thing for a lady. They end up looking for a man who will most probably look like the kind of the father they would want to have. And sometimes they may end up in the wrong relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because both of you are looking for the wrong things.
Yes. You're not looking for a wife. You're looking for a mother in your wife.
So my question to you, Carol,
But
is...
just a minute. What we need to know is that this is happening in the subconscious mind. And actually unconsciously. You are not aware that I'm walking out to go look for my mother in a woman I want to marry. No, it is happening in the unconscious mind. Because we say in psychology that those things that have been repressed, the things that we put away because we are not able to deal with them there and then, they end up affecting us in future. They affect our decision making, they affect the way we do things, they affect our behavior, they affect our thoughts. So we need to be aware of the experiences that we've had, because in one way or the other, they show up.
And they
show up
manifest in your life in one way or another.
Yes.
Carol, which brings me to the question. So has this changed, or you guys are still looking for a mom and a dad in each other, or has it now come to the real thing?
I can say it has come down. Although once in a while, you'll experience something that would expect
to trigger it.
Yeah, you want to see that, the characteristics of a father. Like when you're down, you want somebody who can just come and encourage you. And maybe at that moment he's also going through the same thing or a different thing or even a worse thing. So he's not able to do that. So once in a while, because we know we have that need, once in a while he will do it actually consciously at that particular time. But when he's not able, probably he's going through a worse thing, he has a worse need or a much,
he's not like telling you need to style up. I'm not your dad, I'm your husband.
But then he's never told me that, because I think he got to
understand you better.
Yes.
Is that a thing, McKenna? You really have to understand your partner for you to know where you started and where you're heading, because if they have progressed from trying to get this kind of closure from each other and now have realized we're actually in a marriage, this is now a different thing. And also there are three little people, humans, who now need to be fathered and mothered.
This brings us to the importance of dating and courtship in
Which
any
does not happen
relationship,
these days.
which does not happen nowadays.
Yeah.
Nowadays is, you know, like we go out and the next thing we find ourselves in the same room,
Yeah.
and the next day we are like, okay, let's move on, guy. You know, that's the kind of life we are having today. And unfortunately now you've not known the person that you've gotten to start living with.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is to begin by knowing the person, so that not because you want to like do away with them, no, but to just get to understand them, understand where they're coming from, and probably the needs that they may be having in their lives, so that you can be able to fine tune yourself to be able to support them, let them also get to know you. So it's just about allowing yourselves to be known by your partner, and this should begin from the word go, when the relationship starts, so that we are able to minimize some of these struggles that people are having in their relationships. So it is important to know each other.
I think the issue here is that there's no time to learn this person, or probably you're afraid if you get to know them, you'll not like them anymore. And then there's also the time factor. They're thinking, okay, so we take like 5 years, to know each other, and then wasting each other's time. Yes, that's what I was looking for.
Not really, Angie, because you are not knowing their life. You are not knowing their future. You just need to know the basic and the most critical. It calls for people being open to each other, right from the few days that you meet, the few years, actually, let's say 1 year, year. You know, I don't know why we say we are wasting people's time, because at the end of the day, the pain that you go through, if you find yourself in the wrong person, then it is way much more than wasting, quote unquote, that 1 year of knowing the person.
Rather take your time.
I would rather take my time, know the person, I get to know that we can't rhyme, and do away with this relationship, than get myself into it, live with the person, and then I'm realizing, no, it is not working, when I already have 3 children like Carol.
Yeah,
you see,
it's too late.
It is too late.
Yeah.
So I would rather waste that time that people are saying we are wasting, and spend it knowing more about this, a little bit more about this person. They get to know about me, and then we are able to work together from a point of understanding. From when we struggle later, to try to understand things that if really we gave ourselves some time, we would have dealt with.
Okay.
Yeah.
McKenna, how about these people who are like, I knew you were the one from the very first minute, those
yes.
ones. So you'd find like there's no time to court, there's no time to do anything. Have you ever had someone come to your office and say, okay, we need counseling? Why? Because this is happening. We never took time to date, or we knew this was okay from the very first moment, but then now like 10, 15 years down the line, things changed. What happens?
Trust me, over 80% of the people I see for counseling who are married, they are saying, we wish we took some time. Over 80%. And I see so many couples, both in church and in my office.
Yeah.
And I know they're seeing the same thing every day. People are regretting, if we had more time, then this could have been understood from day one, or from the first few months of getting to know each other, and today we wouldn't be fighting about it.
Yeah.
But now you have fought, you have hurt each other, you've given each other nail by mouth for months, you've like created those barriers for too long over something that could have been addressed by just taking time to know each other. You know, I keep saying people unfold every time in a relationship. I have been married for so many years, but every time is
It's not the same person.
It's not, yes,
when you met.
they keep unfolding. So you can't say you will know them completely, but at least there are few nitty-gritties that are critical to
basics.
the basics that, yeah, you asked
The
what are
basics,
these
yeah.
basics, yes. Like getting to know the background of the person. That is very important, especially in this time and day where we are all meeting in the urban areas. You don't even know where the person is coming from, but now it's you. I knew it's you from the first, I mean, on
The moment I set my eyes on you.
yes, the
Cliche.
moment I
Yeah.
set my eyes on you, I
Yeah.
knew you were the one. Well, yes, you could be the one, but do you even know whether this person comes from the east or the south? You have no idea. Do you know what the south made them to be? You have no idea.
Yeah.
And so you get to meet this person, you move on. Now the southern falls on your face. It is different from your east.
Yes.
How do you deal with it? You have no clue. So you start battles from the first month of marriage.
Yeah. And then your relatives go like, and the way we spent a lot of money on you guys,
Imagine.
it didn't even last.
Yes. The way
Yeah.
we did a fund, what are they called?
Harambes.
No,
About
these pre-weddings.
yeah.
Yes, we did a pre-wedding. We spent so
Na vile
much.
tulimpelekea sofa set na chama.
Can you imagine?
Carol, did it, the fact that you didn't have fatherly love when you were growing up, did it affect how long it took you and your husband to have children of your own because of these reservations?
No, actually, we got our children almost immediately, our firstborn almost immediately. And I think also, as McKenna is saying, is that like what helped us when we were courting. I remember actually before we started courting, the thing that brought us so close to my husband is because he had written a book about his mother, how he lived without a mother. And I saw that book, it was handwritten, and I decided to type it for him. So as I was typing, I learned many things about his life without the mother. So even as I was getting married to him, I knew the missing things about his life with the mother. Then before we got married as well, I told him that I'm actually looking for my dad. And I asked him that the day I would decide I'm looking for him to help me look for my dad, which he did. So I think those preparations, I mean, they prepared us even as we were planning our
What
family.
you're saying, take time to know this
Yes.
person. Then
Imagine
you can
she
walk
never
the journey.
saw the manuscript. If she didn't see it, then they could not have bonded as they did.
Yeah, because she'd feel like he's a burden. He's feeling she is a burden.
Exactly.
And then at the end of the day, this is not even what I was looking for. And there are kids involved.
Yeah.
Remember, you can tweet us via TV47KE or at Angie Wangechi, and also go to our Facebook page. And also, as we are streaming live, just drop in your comments or questions to McKenna, a psychologist, and then also to Carol. She'll probably help you out of the situation you're in if you feel you're stuck in that room that you didn't intend to be or didn't sign up for. That's the word, didn't sign up for. And then we'll take a short break right now. When we come back, we have more questions for McKenna, especially when it comes to children and how all this affects them. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is Engage this Thursday morning. Remember, we have two lovely ladies in the building. We have Caroline, and we also have, yes, Caroline. Carol or Caroline, Angie, Angela. And then we also have McKenna, who's helping us demystify this topic and also just basically have this conversation. Like I said, it's never ending. You can never really have closure and say, this is it. The effects are vast when it comes to single parent families, be it a single dad or a single mom. The effects are just numerous, and we're here trying to help ourselves and someone out there. So if you have any question you want to post to us, feel free to call us on the line that's at the bottom right of your screen. The conversation continues. So McKenna, I'll start off with you. At what point is it okay, or probably it's not okay, I don't know, to tell a child, now, this is the thing, this person who's raising you is not your biological father?
Wow, it's an elephant question.
Yeah.
How many of us parents would be willing to tell their children that this man here is not your father? Maybe very few. However, the right thing to do is to tell the child. But the question again comes, what time is the right time for you to tell them? I would say it will depend with a few factors. One, the age of the child, and two, the reason why you are telling them. What is the motivation behind you telling them this is not your father, this is not your mother? That is very important for someone to understand, especially the age of the child. Like, if a child is 1 year, what do they understand?
Yeah.
They may not really grasp the concept. However, we all understand our children. We know what can they comprehend, what can't they comprehend. The moment you realize that your child is able to understand these things, then it is important. I was talking to a particular child just the other day. She's, I think, 5 years. And the father died when she was 3 years. And she knows, she understands exactly what happened when the father was dying. She understands critically every detail of her relationship with the father. She can remember all the things that were happening in her life when the father was alive.
Yeah, they can comprehend.
They can comprehend. So if this is my child and probably I'm getting in another relationship, I need to sit with this child and tell them, look here, you remember your dad, he is normal. However, ABCD is happening. Why am I doing this? To save myself first. Why? If I don't tell her or him, there is a possibility of rejection. She may reject this other person who is coming into my life. And if he is rejected, then it means I have to be fighting every day for my child. You see, because let's say, for example, it's a lady. You're getting married and you have another child from another relationship. If this child is not prepared for this and they reject the man that is coming into your life, whom will you support as the mother of this child and as the wife to this new guy? Who are you going to support? The guy or your child? You see, it's a catch-22.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, a mother will always fight for
The kids.
the child. But to avoid the fights, then prepare the child early in advance. Let them know, yes, you know, this is where we are. However, I am getting married to a different person from your father, and we will be living with them. And I keep saying it is not an easy conversation to have. So what I encourage people to do, seek support. What kind of support? Counseling support. Because counselors will support you, they will empower you, they will even prepare your child in terms of getting them to understand what it means to have a new man in the life of the mother. So
Does it have to be a professional counselor, or you can go to, let's say, a church elder or an auntie or your best couple if you are married at some point?
Angie, I always, not because I'm a professional, but because it is right. The information that we have out there sometimes may be very outdated, it may be very wrong, and we pass it. But going to a professional guarantees you of professional advice, professional
sound advice.
Yes, very sound advice. So I keep saying, if you can be able to go to a professional, please go to a professional. If maybe church or whoever you think they can be able to help you out, it is still okay than struggling with it, grappling with the information, not knowing what to do. But I imagine even if it is a pastor, they would also struggle with the same thing with their children. But a professional knows and they have the skills to use when it comes to helping such people. So I would encourage a parent who is not able to talk about this with the children, please seek support. Counseling will empower you to be able to disclose or even support you in the disclosure process. Yes.
Now on to birth certificates, Carol. Yes. Should you find yourself, God forbid, in that situation where you're a single parent, what happens to, like where you put the name of the father? Do you get to change that? Do you retain it? Like, what would be the ideal, what would you do? And then for you, what is the ideal situation? First of all, in the context where this person probably was even abandoned, even like what, an hour into conception, because they thought this was just a fun night out, and now this has happened. So to put or not to put the name on the birth certificate, let's start with you.
I would let the names remain as they are when they were, when they were being born. And because I remember there's a friend of mine also that I was talking to the other day, and she wanted to change the names of her children to now the father of the children who she got married to. And I was like, these children still need this identity. You know, at some point I felt like I would change my name, not because I don't love my stepfather, but I felt like it would add something more. After now I got my dad, I felt like I needed to add his name somewhere in my
So
names.
you had like Carol, and then your stepdad, then your biological dad.
Yeah, I felt like I could do that, just that it's not possible. So I think now for the child, it would feel good if you still have the names of your biological father in your birth certificate.
In the birth certificate.
Yeah, so for me, I would let the names remain.
Regardless of the situation.
Yes.
How about you, my Ken?
Let me give a personal experience, then a professional experience. I learned about my biological father when I was going to actually collect my birth certificate. So I go and find, it reads the name of my biological father, whom I wasn't aware of. And for a moment, I was in a dark world. Not dark world, sorry. Dark world has different connotations. Yes. Like I'm reading through with this officer in this office. Thank God she was very supportive. And I think she understood my dilemmas at that moment. I'm looking at that record book and I'm telling her, these two are my names.
Yes.
This is my mother's name, but this one I have no idea. She's looking at me and, okay, I just take your time, and she's trying to help me really understand what she's telling me. So at the end of the day, she asked me, so would you want to retain or we add the name of your stepfather? Or the name, no, she didn't even say stepfather. She said the name of the father you know. I was on a daze for a few moments. And then I was like, okay, let's just leave it as it is. What made me want to leave it as it is? Yet it's somebody I have no idea. I don't know whether it's red, blue, or yellow. I have no idea. But I'm saying, let's keep it. Let me have it just as it is. It shows there is need for that attachment and identity. I keep saying what would make children want to know who truly their biological parents are is a natural desire. It's really very natural. It's a natural desire that I feel there is a vacuum which can only be filled by getting to know who this person is really. If I were to bring now the professional aspect to it, I would say the same thing, that every child has this natural desire to identify with their people, to belong, a sense of belonging. However long I live with my stepdad, however perfect he is, an awesome father. Like my dad was a great person. My stepdad is late. May he rest in peace. But he is still my stepfather. He can never be my biological father. He raised me. He did everything for me. However, my biological father is my father. Whether he has done anything for me or not, he is still my father. So the point is, let's not deny the child the need that they have. It's a natural need. Actually, like many of us, you go get to know who your father is or who your mother is, and the need is met, and that's the You don't even pursue it further because the need
It's
has
just
been
closure,
met.
full stop.
Just that, to just meet that particular need. And life goes on. You never even get to engage with him later or after that day because you had a natural vacuum which has been filled and you go back. Same thing with adoption. A child will be adopted and then somewhere
They start looking for their
for their
parents,
parents. I keep
siblings.
saying allow them, support them to get to know who their biological parents are if you can. Let them know them. They will definitely come back to you.
Yeah. Carol, at one point, did your stepdad feel that you're ungrateful because he has been there throughout? And then now here you are saying you want to look for your biological father and also probably having thoughts of including his name in the birth certificate. Did he ever tell you, Sasa wewe? Yeah?
He never told me that, but I saw it on his face. After I met my dad, I was already married, so I wasn't living with him. I actually didn't tell him that I was looking for my dad. I never told him that I found him. I let my mom tell him. Now I realized some behavior, like he felt like I was robbed from him. Like, I was the only girl in that family. Yeah, I have 2 brothers, so I was the only girl in that family. So, and he was so proud of me. So at some point, I realized that he felt like I'm running away from him, like I'm not grateful.
You just forgot him in a flash.
Yes, I had to soberly act and behave. I didn't sit him down, but behave and act and bring everything together to show him that you actually are the first in everything.
Oh boy.
Like, I'm not running away from you. You're still my dad. You are the best. If they were to be put here, both of them, and I have one present to give to one, I would give to my stepfather.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Because I'm sure they feel you're ungrateful, or now that you're at a point where you're not really dependent on a parent, now you feel like, first of all, you have been taken away from him twice. The husband,
Yes.
and then now the biological father. First of all, even allowing you to go into a marriage is normally a problem for a dad. Then now here you are saying, okay, guess what? I found my stepdad. So every time I'm sure you're around him, you're like, you try not to be excited. You're like, hey, I met so and so. You're like, yeah. We met, and you're like, you have to suppress it.
Yes.
And how about your mom? Did she encourage you to look for your biological father?
Yes, my mom. I actually asked her when now I decided it's now or never.
You're ready.
So I asked her about my dad, and she told me. She was like surprised. How come you've never asked me this story? That is when I was expecting my second born. And she was excited about the whole thing, but she told me, you continue looking for your dad, but get me out of that story. Like, she didn't want
to be a part of
So I said, fine, I'll look for him. With your permission, I will. Yeah. So she was there. She encouraged me to do it. She was happy when I met my dad, but she didn't want to be involved with that. She told me, now,
what
that
if
is
she
your
said,
father.
no, don't?
Yeah. What would you have done then? Because some parents are like, be grateful. You have this man came into our lives, accepted you, and then here you are looking for. Like, what if she had said, no, you can't do that?
I would still have looked for him because she had already given me the details and not tell her.
And not tell her.
Yeah.
Because you really needed that closure.
Yes.
McKenna, how bad is it? Like, getting closure from a child, and then is it different for a girl child and a boy child? Because they say a daughter is their father's, hence probably the need is stronger for you to find who your father is.
It's really a very bad need that needs to be met like yesterday. Like, when that needs come for the child, they don't sleep thinking about this angel man. You know the way she put it? And sometimes they forget that they can be so hurt in the process of looking for this parent.
Because he could even reject you.
Yes, this is the flip that we don't also look at. And it's important that we do this as there's children who are looking for the parents.
Yes.
Just know that it's 50-50. You can be accepted.
It doesn't end well all the time.
Yes, it may end bitterly. Like, you're hurt the rest of your life. You can be broken the rest of your life. So I keep telling people who are looking for their parents, when you're doing this, just know, just have an open mind. know that they may accept you or reject you completely, say they have never known you or seen you or something like that, and be
Yet
prepared.
here you are, the nose is copy-paste.
Yes, it may not even be the nose. I was told of a story of someone whose children were like a carbon copy of the father, but still he is saying, no, these are not, but they are a carbon copy, literally. But they would still reject for some reason. So when you are doing this as a child, do it with an open mind. However, the most interesting thing about it is whether they reject or not, the need has been met. So I say, if you are rejected, come on, move on with your life. You've been moving on anyway. If you are accepted, praise the Lord and move on.
The more the merrier, move on. Yeah.
Whatever the case, just move on. If you want to pursue a relationship, if you've been accepted, it is still okay. But remember, the same question you were raising, but this other step parent may feel like really you are ungrateful. So even as you pursue this relationship, please remember, be sensitive to this other parent that you're having. Be sensitive so that you are not showing off, you know, like you are now biological father is everything. Where was he after all? So be sensitive to the other the step parent. So coming back, I would say it's important that you know that you can be accepted
or rejected. Carol, when it comes to finding, when it came to the point where you found your father, at what point in his life did you find him? Did he tell you, okay, now it's fine? Now that you're back, if I may, you should know that you have like 20 other siblings. Like, what was the reaction? Like, what was the first point of contact, and what did he say when you reached out?
When we met and, you know, like reconnected.
Yes, that's the thing. Reconnected, yes.
Yes. Now, he was so excited, really excited. He introduced me to his family almost immediately. His husband, I mean wife and the child, the brothers, sisters, extended family. Actually, there was a barrier almost immediately after we met in their, whatever, in their home. They had lost one of the grandpas, who was now like my grandfather. Yeah. And he invited me to the burial. And like I met so many people. Anytime I turned like this, I saw people do like this. So he was proud of me. He was proud of me. The family received me so well. They're actually very close to me. Yes.
That was a good reception. Like, and
she's just blessed.
Yeah, she's blessed. Yeah, because most don't turn out like that. You find like it's more heartbreak than happily ever after. Yes. So McKenna, at what point, for example, if it's a single dad or a single mom, and they have this relationship they're hiding, because basically, like you said, every parent's priority is to protect the child. So this person is dating and the family is not aware, and then now they feel it's time to introduce him or her to the kids. At what point do you do that? Because I think the greatest fear would be, so what if I introduce him and then tomorrow he has disappeared? Because it has a very major psychological effect on the kids.
I would just go straight to a question that would answer your question. What would happen if you don't introduce them and then later he gets to know after you've moved too far, you're married, and then he runs, which is a lesser evil. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if he can run the first day of knowing, then he will run even 20 years later.
It wouldn't be very helpful.
So, which is better? Yeah. I would rather have these children safe in a relationship that I'm getting into. If a man cannot accept your child...
So the priority is the children?
Most definitely, because they are vulnerable. Yes. A child is vulnerable. True. You can fight for yourself. A child cannot fight. You are the protector, the defense of this child. So you need to have their needs as a priority, because they cannot do it for themselves. So if you introduce this child to the new guy in your life and he runs, actually be grateful that he ran. He ran way before things were too bad. Yes.
Yeah, because I heard someone say it's God's way of protecting you. The fact that you've been abandoned, it doesn't make sense, but well, the kids come first. Carol, when it comes to children,
Yes.
does it have any effect, life-changing effect when the father comes back? Like when you compare to when he was not there, and then now not even coming back. Why am I using coming back? Like when you reconnect
Yes.
or get closer and get to know who is who, does it make a big difference?
Yes, it does. Like for me, there's some confidence that came that I don't know how, but something happened. I got some confidence. I felt like I now belong here in this earth. Like
Yeah.
I felt safe. And in the beginning, I felt like I had just now gone back to that toddler. I started growing again. So I felt like, you know, I needed to be brought up now from a baby now. You know, I grew. But the good thing is that I missed
taking
all that.
advantage, yeah. So birthdays nini muko huko kwa park.
Yeah,
But I think it's normal.
Yeah,
really.
yeah.
I felt I needed to talk to him every time. You know, he's working, and I kept like texting him and
Hi,
telling
how
him
are
I
you?
love
How's your
him.
day?
You know, I miss him. You know, those two things, that baby thing.
Yeah.
Then after a while, I could skip a day, and I realized I was telling a friend of mine, now I'm becoming a
this is too
teenager.
much.
I'm now a teenager.
Oh, you've progressed to the next level.
Yes, I'm growing from one level to the other. So there's a way I just, you know, shifted now to a baby. Now I started growing. Now I think
Literally.
now normally.
This is interesting. Like every stage from a baby to
Yes.
now, you're a teenager.
And I always feel if my dad didn't give me that room to like grow that way again with him, if he expected me now because I'm married and I'm a grown up to just behave and act like an adult, I think I would still have felt something was missing.
Yeah, you haven't fulfilled something.
Yes.
Or
quite
you
yet.
reject him.
Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would actually have rejected him probably.
Yeah.
I would feel he, you know, he doesn't deserve my time. I mean, he's not worth it. But he allowed me to be. I would write like 10 texts at a go.
Wow.
You know, like, I love you. Then the next one, I miss you. You're the best. You know, those two
He
things.
didn't find it weird, like he was enjoying it as well?
I think he was enjoying because after like 2-3 texts he calls. He's not the kind that texts.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen your text, thank you. And then after a while, he's like, I've not seen your text for a while, you know, so he's also encouraged me.
He's also missing you because it's something you've made him get used to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we're going to take a short break, but when we come back, remember we still have our reporters Andrine Kileme on the ground where the Kenya National Union of Teachers are having quite heated discussions. Well, there is a faction of NAT that wants Wilson Sosion to go. There are some who want him to stay. She'll be updating us that in a bit. Then we also have our reporter Tony Murigi on the ground who's going to be updating us on the census issue. I'd like McKenna to handle the issue of rejection when we come back, because sometimes, like you said, it either goes well or really bad. So what happens when you're rejected? We'll take a short break. When we come back. Rejection.
Equip Africa College is a TVET institution accredited by the Ministry of Education and relevant professional regulatory bodies. The college, located in Kitale, is a center of excellence in healthcare training in the region. We have state-of-the-art training facilities, conducive learning environment, hostels, and highly qualified trainers. Apply now for diploma or certificate in nursing, clinical medicine, nutrition and dietetics, medical laboratory sciences, business management, procurement, marketing, and many more. For inquiries, visit our main campus next to Kitale Museum or our Nairobi office along Moi Avenue, Union Towers, 5th floor. Equip Africa College, empowering generations through quality training.
Dunia ni duara na yote yanayofungana hufunguka. Kila kukicha mapya yanasawazisha jana na ya leo.
Bila shaka hatuwezi kubadili muundo wa maisha yako, lakini hakikisho letu kwako ni kwamba tutahakikisha asubuhi yako inaanza katika mpigo uliobomba zaidi.
Inakuwaje Kenya tufunge Tanzania baada ya mechi kuimiliki?
Tunarauka nawe kwa uchambuzi wa kina wa taarifa mbalimbali.
Tutaangazia kaunti mbalimbali moja baada ya nyingine.
Mazungumzo na majadiliano yanayokujenga wewe nafsi yako.
Hatutasahau burudani, Jumatatu hadi Ijumaa.
First, I think it's really unfortunate for the child whose mother will say, do not look for your father. It's unfortunate because the child has a craving that needs to be met. But the mother has no idea, or the parent has no idea, that there is a craving that needs to be met, and it really has to be met. That's why I'm saying it's pretty unfortunate for the child. Moving forward, the child will definitely move on and look for the parent. And probably, like Carol was saying, not tell the mother that I'm doing this. They will eventually do it because it's a craving that must be met. The same way an expectant mother who is craving for soil, they will eventually eat. However much you tell them this is unhealthy, this will do this, there is some mineral that this lady is looking for, and they have to get it. So the child also is looking for something that needs to really meet this craving that they have. And at the end of the day, they will do it. They won't tell you. Probably you may know when now things go south. You know, like they get to look for the father, and meeting him is like, now I do not know you. Go back to where you're coming from. Maybe now this is when they may go back and confirm to the mother that indeed what you said is true. This is not a good person, you know. But if he is good, the mother may not know immediately. But somehow, like, maybe I should bring this. I know of children who have actually reconnected the parents as a result of the child taking time and looking for the
other parent.
At the end of the day, they end up ensuring that the two parents meet and they get into talking terms. Maybe, of course, they moved on with their lives and got married, remarried elsewhere. But at least they begin that conversation. But now, what will happen to the child when they are rejected, of course, it is very heartbreaking, I want to imagine. Extremely heartbreaking. You know that person that you had thought would fill this vacuum in your life.
Yeah.
And suddenly they're like, no, I don't want anything to do with you. I moved on with my life. You go stay with your mother, you know, those things. But it's very heartbreaking for the child. It's very saddening. It can even lead to depression if it is not handled well.
If it's not handled well.
Yes. So I would also encourage anyone probably who is going through this, because I know there are many out there, seek for support, seek for professional support. Go for counseling, talk to somebody about it. Let them help you deal with the pain and bitterness of rejection. Rejection is not very good, whether from a father, even from a friend. It is not a good thing. But if you learn to talk about it and then realize, after all, this person is not the end of my life. I mean, I've been living all along, so whether you're there or not, I'll still move on. You know, realizing that after all, nothing is too bad, you know. And as you go looking for him or her, please remember this. You can be rejected. I said it's either way. It can
Just be
50,
open-minded.
Be open-minded, so that when now you're rejected, you're not sinking into depression as a result.
Yeah.
Just being aware that you may not be.
You would have probably been better off not
Not
knowing.
knowing. Actually, that's one day somebody told me that the husband told them, please don't look for this man, because it may end up
Really badly.
really, really bad. But the lady insisted. So what happens? The girl's like, okay, I'll help you. Let's go look for him. But just know, if he doesn't take you, receive you, I will receive you. You see? So the husbands who are also married to these children
very supportive.
should be very supportive.
Very supportive,
Yes, they need
yeah.
to be extremely supportive, because really, it's not like there is something this girl or boy is lacking. No, but there is a gap that needs
That
to
just
be
needs to
filled.
be filled.
Naturally.
So basically, it's just for the betterment of their mental health.
Yes,
It should be
exactly.
looked at from that perspective.
Yes.
Because now if we start feeling jealous or thinking they're ungrateful, we're not helping this child, we're damaging them more.
Sure,
So
sure.
allow them to look for them. Carol, when it comes to parents, these people who are single by choice, mostly the ladies who are victims of this, and they tend to give probably like their children their female name as a surname. What's your take on that? You know, like you have probably Boniface Wanjiro or something like that as a surname. Is it damaging? Because I'm thinking with this also comes bullying in school, and then you also have these teachers who just say their own things.
Toka hapa na jina ya mwanamke, you
Mbona
know.
kuna jina ya mwanamke? You know, and it's in front of the class. Like, is it damaging?
I find it quite selfish for the parent to just, want your child to be called in your name. Yet there's a father who doesn't mind this child being called in his name.
What if he minds? Like, he doesn't even want anything to do with it, or probably doesn't even know he has a child somewhere. So probably she's thinking, to save me all the trouble, let me just give my child as a surname.
I think if I was the one, I would leave it blank.
The XXX.
Yeah, I would leave it blank. Just know I'm your mother. It will appear in your certificate or wherever. If you want to add the name, because there's some people who choose, by the way. Some people are brought up with their fathers, but they still feel, I love my mom more. I would like my mom's name to appear
be
in my
included.
documents.
Yes.
So if they choose, fine. If they don't choose, leave a blank where they can have an opportunity to make that choice. Yeah.
But I think that's a bit tricky, because if legally, right now, if you were to change or include a name of a father, you're supposed to, it's a legal process. Swear an affidavit. And I think the form also includes, I did kidogo research, the form I think includes actually going to even that father, and also I think the production of, you have to produce, I think, a marriage certificate as well. So it doesn't work for everyone, you see, because now, what if this child, like we said, there are many cases of come with stays or just very funny kienyeji marriages, so you don't even have like a legal document. So for you to even include the name of that child, and that means you have to swear an affidavit, you have to produce a marriage certificate. So it might not work the way you're saying it, that if they want to include the name later, they can. Because even when you're married, even changing your name to your hubby's name is now another process. Like, it's chaotic. So I think even in the legal aspect, government, Sirkal's idea should look into it, because it becomes hectic.
I think, Angie, adding a name is easier.
Yeah.
Removing a name is what is really very hectic. Adding a name to your names is it's okay, let me not say very easy, but it's not as difficult.
So basically just include it,
yes,
whatever the situation.
So what I would say in that case is, like the other day I was in this school and I had so many names that so and so, so and so, like a boy's name with the mother's name, in hundreds of them. And then also, I know quite a number of people, some very senior lawyers, doctors, who are using their mother's name
as a
instead
surname.
of, yes, as a surname. And I think also the bullying and the stigma that came with that is also like going as time goes by, as people get a bit more of exposure, and even as we continue talking about these
it's
things,
even fashionable.
yes,
like it's
also
okay to have your
fashionable,
mom's name as your surname.
You know, a child who will listen to this show today will not bully that other child who has their mother's name, because really they get to understand why they have it, probably. So awareness, a lot of awareness will help. Yes, it's very important to help in demystifying and also destigmatizing.
Yes.
At the same time, I believe in allowing the child to be, because many times we give them their names as our names as the mothers when they are vulnerable and they can't make a decision
on their own. Yes.
And maybe when they grow, at some point they wouldn't want to have this name. Why don't you just allow them to have the two names probably that you gave them, and then much later, if they want to have your name, a surname, they can add yours or even the father's, if it is possible,
or the husband,
or the husbands.
That's why I'm telling you guys, it's not even, I think, the decision of the mom or even the hospital, because now when you come to the register of birth and deaths, actually even away from the hospital, if that is someone got an opportunity to give birth in a hospital, they have to ask for the father's name, and you have to fill it in the form. And they actually warn you that if you don't do it then in the birth notification or the hospital records, you don't have a chance to rectify that. Because if you go to now the certificate office with your notification, they ask, ijina unataka ikue, you know, like they insist.
An interesting thought, Angie.
Yeah, like they are insisting he has to be there, and I think it's insensitive because probably, like you said, it could be a rape. You don't even know who the father is. Yes. You get maybe you have multiple partners and you don't know who the father is, and they're insisting. So you're there thinking, yeah, guess what? Nitaeka nani? You know, they're forcing you to put that name from the hospital. So it's really tricky.
You don't know. Just say you don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't
you don't have
change the fact.
To bandikiza someone.
Yes. Yeah. What happens in future when this child finds on their birth certificate somebody's name on it, they start pursuing, and probably it's not the father.
Is thinking, what are you talking about?
What exactly are you saying? And a DNA is done. You know, we are in the era of DNAs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what will happen in that case? I think let's just allow, but I think also there are people who don't insist. Like, since I don't know for what reason, right from childhood, I always used my two names, Purity McKenna, forever, until when I got married, is when I added my husband's name on my ID. But before then, I used my two names, even in secondary, when everybody was like, you must have a surname. For me, I told them, these are the two names that I want to have, and these are the two names, and I don't know why I did that, because I never knew about my father. I think we need to allow a bit of freedom, because some people get into situations not by choice. Not by choice. So when we push just you must have a name. I'll give you just any name. I mean,
Andika majina yako tatu.
Yes.
And then start with your surname. Then thinking, why are you
When you
insisting?
get angry with a
actually,
name,
mine
doctor.
McKenna used to be my surname.
Yeah, so you start with McKenna
Yes,
and then
McKenna
write
Purity.
yeah.
McKenna Purity. And that was
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So
So,
no one should force the other one to write a name that they're not comfortable with.
because not everyone has a surname.
A surname, true.
Yes.
A surname in the African context.
African
Probably, yes,
context,
McKenna is
yes.
still a surname, but
Exactly.
they expect you to put father's name, and you don't know the situation someone is in. So that leeway should be allowed. Carol, you're saying something?
No, I was saying sometimes you'd get mad and ask him, what's your name? I write it here.
Yeah, because like they're forcing you to.
I don't have any male person in mind.
Yeah, but I find it very awkward.
It is.
Yeah. So remember, we are also following up on this story. The Kenya National Union of Teachers. We have factions that are warring. So there's some who want Wilton Sosion out. There's some who want him to be retained. But now we have a caller on the line. He's called Peter Munga. He is the Public Relations Officer of NAT. Peter, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's not a good morning for us.
Yes, what's happening?
We have people who have invaded the headquarters, not headquarters.
Yes.
They are claiming they are not official
Yes.
about a meeting that is supposed to have been postponed yesterday. A court order postponed the meeting because of security concerns
Yes.
and other concerns. So the meeting was postponed.
Yes.
But these people have come here claiming that they will still go ahead with the meeting.
Yes.
But what's happening is that also the offices were locked, so they tried to go in by force. They have broken doors. They have actually there's even some kind of looting going on
Okay.
because some of our computers have been vandalized and some of the property
Okay. Peter, we are talking about the office downtown?
downtown Pangano Street.
Yes, in Fangano Street. Is there police presence on the ground? Because if there is looting, yes.
Yeah, the police have arrived. They have contained the situation, but they are still hanging out here. Those people have not left. They are not in the building, but they are just hanging on the street now. And it's like they want to do some kind of picket.
Okay. What is the bone of contention, actually? Why do people want... Yes.
The big issue is that not officials are hungry. They must be paid for 2 months.
Okay.
The court ruling of the 21st July, the TAC decided to punish NAT. So it withdrew union dues. So union dues have not been forthcoming at NAT headquarters. And when people are hungry, you understand what happens. So that is the problem that we are having, that people are hungry and they want some, so there's also agitation. And they are saying they want Sosion out. But you see, Sosion was elected by over 200,000 teachers. A group of 20 people cannot remove Sosion from office.
Okay. So it's just a small fraction of people who want him out because they say that he also doubles up as a member of parliament.
Yes,
so they are
also going on that I think that he has been registered as a teacher, which is true.
Yes.
He was registered by the Teacher Service Commission, and they're also saying that he's a member of parliament. So those are the things that are happening.
Okay. You mentioned looting earlier. What kind of damage do you have right now when it comes to property? What has been...
Have been broken, doors have been broken, some offices have been broken into and vandalized.
Okay. Okay, Peter, thank you for that update. We'll keep contacting you for more updates. Stay safe.
Thank you.
So that is going on downtown Mfangano Street, the Kenya National Union of Teachers headquarters, facing a bit of a rough morning there. We have people vandalizing the buildings. There was a meeting scheduled but was postponed due to a court order. But then again, we also have people who normally take advantage of these situations, and looting is ongoing. So if you're on that street, stay safe and stay away, because you never know what could happen. You could be caught up in the melee, but the good news is that police are on the ground containing the situation. Our reporter Andrin Kinlem is also on the ground. When we get a through line to how she will give us a thorough update on what is happening on the ground. Back to studio, we have the discussion on the psychological effects of children who find themselves in a situation where they're being parented by a single parent. We're saying the ideal situation is mom, dad, children. the basic ideal situation. But then we have these dynamics these days. But what we are forgetting as we try and modernize ourselves and also adjust to our lifestyles, or what we call selfish lifestyles. I have a job. The way I have a job, I have everything else. Like over probably 35, what else do I need a child? But it affects the child in various ways. So before we went, we linked up with Peter Munga from the Kenya National Union of Teachers. You were talking about something. Yeah. Yes, you can pick up from there.
Maybe let me just digress a bit.
Okay.
To get to a point that you were almost raising.
Yes.
You were saying the dynamics that we have today, they are causing a lot of changes. And it's not always obvious that every child will have the two parents, the father and the mother.
Yes.
Then what should happen in this case? I always say that, and it's actually the right thing to do, that if you are a father and probably your child doesn't have a mother for whatever reason, they need to have a mother figure in their lives. This could be maybe your auntie, your sister, or just somebody who could be that mother figure in the life of this child. And they should be available in the life of the child, not just by name, but by taking up the role of nurturing the child, not just from a distance, but trying as much as possible to get this child close. If it's a mother, please get a father figure for the child, because the natural idea or ideal of a child is to have both. But where it is not possible, then a figure of that parent should be brought in the picture. So a father, please bring a mother figure, a mother bring a father figure. Unfortunately now, some of the people today, the people they are bringing in as father-mother figures are not really father-mother figures. They end up becoming the wives, the next wife now in the life, or husband in the life of this person. And now they start mistreating the child, especially as soon as they get their own children. That's why it's recommended that probably get a relative or somebody that you may not end up into other relationships with, so that they can continue supporting your child. But if you get a lady or a man to marry, then introduce your child to them gradually, so that gradually, so that they can continue taking up the role.
Kara, how about kids who never, whose parents never get to look for them, because they know there's a child somewhere, and the child is also aware that my dad is out there or my mom is out there, and they can see probably in this era of social media, they're probably their friends and can see this one is just enjoying his life and he's posting about the other kids and not me, and he's not even bothering to reach out, or probably the child reached out and said, I'll call you, and that was the end of the story. How does such a child deal with all of this? Where the parent is not even feeling the urge. They know there's Carol somewhere, but I don't see the need to pursue it further.
Yeah, and I believe most of them, of course, if you're a father or your mother of a child somewhere, you know. But I think sometimes, especially when they have already moved on and they already have other families, they feel like if I bring this child in my life, probably I'll have issues with maybe my properties. You know, I need to change some things. And maybe this child can become a problem in my family. So some of them, they just want to guard that. But I find that as well quite selfish, because it would feel better. I know it would have felt better for me if my dad came looking for me.
Yeah, not the other way around.
So good. Yeah, not the other way around, as you're saying. But they just choose. I think it's a choice. They just choose not to do that, which is not a good thing. It would be better if somebody just, you know, goes ahead. But others, again, depending with the kind of a relationship they had with the mother of the child, they may not even come anywhere near. Because probably the mother of the, like now my mom had to drop out of school. So probably my grandma would say, I should never see that man here.
Yeah, true.
You know, so they get terrified and they decide to keep off.
McKenna, how does that work out for a child? Because I'm thinking it has some form of effect on the child, even if that child is like over in their 50s even. Because they're thinking, I know my dad exists, I know my mom exists, and she has never or he has never bothered to even reach out. Or probably they even meet Tukotu in these family gatherings. Yeah.
This brings a twist because there are also fathers or mothers who are not reaching out to their children, not because they don't want, but they're also afraid that they will be rejected. I know of someone who could not reach out, but every day they kept looking like forward to meeting their children, but he could not. One, because they are feeling like they failed. You know, I failed my children. I moved on and all these things have happened. Yet I know these are my children. They are guilty, first
they
and
messed
foremost.
up.
They messed up. They left their children to struggle. So they don't know where to begin. And so they are afraid. And again, let's say it's a man. They don't want their ego to be damaged when they look for a child and the child rejects them. You know, like rejecting an old man, you know. They're not ready to take that. So I'm bringing a twist to it so that also the children know sometimes parents may be afraid, especially
More
if
than
they
you are.
moved on. Yes, more than you are actually, because they are irresponsible, so to speak. If probably it's their irresponsibility. But I know there are other factors that lead to this kind of
situations.
child-parent separation. So if it is irresponsibility, then this person is feeling like, no, I don't know where to begin this. So from a child's point of view, it would be probably easier to take an initiative to go look for the father. But I'm saying rejection could be either way. But what are we saying? If I go and I am rejected, what needs to happen? I said I need to know that this is not the end of my life. I have done without him or her. I can still do without them. Or probably they were just not meant to be a part of this, my life. You know, you have to rationalize sometimes. You have to rationalize for you to be able to live your life. Because if you keep taking things literally every now and then you will live a very miserable life.
Sooner or later,
yes, you will live a miserable life. But seeking support above everything, Angie, is the way to go. Both for the and even for the children. Maybe as a parent, you don't know what to do. Talk to a professional. They will help you, by the way, and realize it's not a big deal even if they rejected you. You can still go on with your life. There's something that Carol was bringing to us.
Yes.
She said that maybe the parent is afraid, the father is afraid of bringing in this child because of property and what have you. I would say some children will not look for their parents because they are lacking. No.
It's an emotional thing. It's not about property.
Not material, exactly. I'm not looking for you because there is anything tangible that I need from you. It's all emotional. So as a parent, do not be worried that this child is coming back to your life. But I'm also thinking that maybe you never told this your new wife that you had a child.
Another family,
yes, you had another family. And now here I am presenting myself. And I'm coming to...
And then your better half is asking you, I thought we bared it all. Like, so we are talking about
you see? So you're like coming in to spoil a relationship that has been running. So
for the last 10 years, and then here you are out of nowhere.
You are from nowhere. You want to be a child to this man who has other children, probably your age. You know. So yeah.
Okay, we'll hold that thought. Let's cross over right now. And listening to Andrin Kilemi, who's at the Kenya National Union of Teachers headquarters in Fangano Street. Let's get an update on what is happening. Remember earlier we were talking to the Public Relations Officer, Peter Munga, who gave us a snippet of what is going on. And now let's listening to our reporter, Andrin Kilemi.
Right, Angie, we are coming to you live from the Kenya National Union of Teachers headquarters here in Nairobi, where incidents of impunity and looting were reported early this morning. Remember, this comes a few hours just after a court order was issued to stop a NEC meeting that was expected to happen today morning. However, a section of NAT leaders are here and they are saying that this meeting shall and must go on. And as you can see, teachers have presented themselves here. I will be speaking to a few of them. However, this meeting was expected to take place this morning with members of the National Executive Committee, but as you can see, teachers are around here. However, right now I'll be speaking to Executive Secretary Bwana Joe Mungai from Thika, who will just shed light on what exactly is happening today and what they expect from today's meeting. Karibu sana Bwana Joe.
Asante sana.
Just tell us what exactly brought you guys here and what do you expect after today?
We are in solidarity with the owners of the union, or the custodians of the Constitution, which is actually the National Executive Council. So we have come here for to keep them company. Yes.
So what is your plea this morning?
Our plea this morning is for Sossion to leave peacefully. His time is up, and I think he can run, but he cannot hide. His time is simply up.
Yes, and there were allegations of looting and breakages into the NAT officials' offices here at the headquarters. Is that true, or they're just allegations?
This building today looks like a security installation. So I'm wondering how you would break into a building when you have senior police officers around. They are answerable. The bank is still around. So the doors were left open. And this propagandist, this chief propagandist, known as Sossion, is the one peddling those lies. So there's no truth in looting. No one has looted anything. There's nothing to be looted. Get inside there, and you'll find some doors to some certain areas locked. So how do you loot? What do you loot? What do you loot at the reception? In fact, it's not even a reception, but a security desk. Again, we want to ask, when we came in, the doors were open. Where are the security persons so that they can record a statement? So therefore, this is manufactured propaganda meant to derail us from our core business. But it is too late in the day.
Yes. And members of the public are asking, why is it that a section of NAT members want Sossion out?
It's not a section. It's majority of the NAT members. You've been following it up in the mainstream media that people are leaving. They would not be leaving if they had faith in him. So they have lost confidence in him, they have lost faith in him, and therefore they are leaving so that he can live. Yes.
All right. Now, Angie, that is the situation right here from the Kenya National Union of Teachers headquarters. As you've heard from the Executive Secretary, Bwana Joe Mungai, is that they are here just to ensure that the union continues to function as it is expected. The meeting was expected to be conducted today, but the members that were expected to be here are members from the National Executive. But as you can see, there are teachers around. I do not know if there is a teacher around who we can talk to just to tell us why they came all the way. Karibu sana. Please talk to us. I will hold the mic for you. Tell us why you're here.
I'm Christopher Kitua, Chairman Kibwezi NAT. We are here because we have some predicaments that are facing teachers of this country. Okay. And the NAT is losing the famous glory, which they have gone for the last 62 years, because they started in 1957. And there are so many pending issues. One, the CBC, the SG gave direction. And in my branch, we had 8 officials interdicted. And up to now, they have not been reinstated. They were misguided. He took the matter to the court. We withdrew the matter from the court. Then we went to the TSC for hearing. So we thought that that was not the wise way of doing things, because we thought employer should be respected. And is my plea, because we have 280 teachers who were interdicted from various regions in Kenya, Kakamega, Kitui, Machakos, Kibwezi itself, Kangundo, and Kisii. It is very prudent that the TSC consider their plea because they were misguided.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. Angie, that is the situation right here from the Kenya National Union of Teachers headquarters. We shall keep an eye on this story and we'll be updating our viewers as soon as we get more information. Back to you, Angie.
Rin Kilemi for that update. Remember, it's the Kenya National Union of Teachers going through quite an interesting morning there. We have the Executive Secretary, Joe Mungai, saying there is no looting happening on the ground. The doors were left open for them to access the building on Mfangano Street. Yet we also had earlier via phone call, Public Relations Officer, Kenya National Union of Teachers, Peter Munga, saying there is looting ongoing and they have called the police to reinforce and also put the situation under control. And then we also have the Secretary General, Wilson Sosion, insisting that he is not leaving the position of the SG NUT. We'll get more updates, and once we get them, we'll keep giving them to you. And now, as we wrap up Engage today, we finalize on the, not finalize, it's a topic that can never have, it can never be explored to the fullest, but we try and give our final sentiments on children raised by single parents because of whatever dynamics they found themselves in. It's not necessarily because someone has decided to just abandon the family. It could be death. It could be any situation. But we were trying to try and find the place of children found in such situations and what would be the best way forward. So we were talking about rejection, and it could go very badly or very well. And then also you're saying probably the parent is not looking for you because they moved on and they're afraid when you come into the picture. Now you're actually the one bringing breaking news to the current wife or husband, like, you know what, this guy had a past. And out of this past, there was something born out of it. What other scenarios, Carol, would we find ourselves in, especially the kids, and especially a woman or a man who doesn't even know, let me just use a woman, who doesn't even know who the father of the child is. Probably that the people who have multiple partners. When it comes to such a person, how do they even, children are children, they'll always ask, Daddy ni nani? So how do they even address that?
I think, as McKenna said, we need to also be able to consult the, professionals. And I think in the same, scenario, if you really don't know who's the father of that child, and probably the child is asking, I know most of them would want to just keep quiet. But if the child is asking, just send that child to the counselor and tell the counselor, I don't know the father, so tell her or him. So the counselor will find a way of, trying to talk to this child, rather than just keeping quiet and leaving this child with questions in mind. Because I think some parents would not want even to talk about their, their life before. Some of them have, transformed completely, and they don't want even their children to know the past, the kind of life they lived.
Yeah, because it also, even for that person, it brings out now memories. It reminds them of the kind of life they were living.
Yeah.
And for you?
I do a lot of adoption counseling, and in most cases, most adoptive parents do not know who the parent, the biological parents to these adopted children are.
Yeah.
And so they battle with this question of the child wanting to know who the father is or the mother is. I always say the truth can never change. The truth never changes 100 years to come. But if you lie about it, you have to keep lying every day of your life. Because to cover a lie or to sustain a lie, you have to lie again so that you sustain it. If you want the truth, say it as it is. Because it can never be changed.
Yeah.
It's a fact. I don't know who the father of my child is. I don't know. It is a fact. If I tell them he died, then you will want to know. Now, watu wao ni kina nani? You know.
You can go and find them.
Yes. Because the need is still there.
It's still there.
But if you say, this is what happened, and sometimes, of course, as parents, we don't have the guts to do this to the parents. Probably you can, to the children. Probably you can get someone, a significant person in the life of the child, maybe a grandparent, an auntie, or somebody, to talk to the child about what happened.
Yeah.
But don't just leave it and cover it with a lie, because you have to live lying the rest of your life. And one day it will be known that you lied to me, this is what happened.
Yeah.
I say, especially with now adoption, that if you do not tell the child the truth, there will be somebody who will tell them the truth one day.
Especially that malicious
and
aunt or
remember,
uncle.
it has to be a malicious person.
Yeah.
Because what other reason
do they
you
have to reveal to the child, and
Exactly.
yet you haven't? Thank you very
It's
much,
malice.
ladies, for your time. Thank you for sharing with us your story, Carol. Thank you for your professional expertise. So, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of Engage this Thursday afternoon. Remember, we still have Matukio Nyanjani coming up with Clifford Ndubi. He's going to be featuring Victor Ndede from Amnesty International and Joki Gishanga. You don't want to miss this discussion. Until next Thursday, it's goodbye from us.